We begin today in the NBA in the Western Conference. Let's talk about the Wild Wild West, ladies and gentlemen. It's a big time of the year in the NBA, and the best conference in the NBA is the Western Conference, not the Eastern Conference. I love the East. I love the Celtics. I love the Bucks. I love the Sixers, and I love the Cavs and the Knicks. But the Wild Wild West is the best conference in the NBA. And so when it comes to the Western Conference, obviously at the 1 seed, and honestly, the team has been the most consistent in the West is the Denver Nuggets. And right now, the Denver Nuggets are 48-24. Kings are the 2nd seed. They are tied with the Grizzlies at 43-27. The Suns are the 4th seed, 38-33. The Clippers are the 5th seed, and so forth. So when I look at the Western Conference right now and my favorites, I want to break down a few of these teams, and I want to talk about their issues. So let's start off at the top. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, they have lost 5 of their last 7 games. And again, they have been the most consistent team in the Western Conference. And most of the season, they have been led by their MVP candidate, Nikola Jokic, for the season. Jokic is averaging 25 points per game, 12 rebounds per game, 10 assists per game on 63% shooting from the floor. We know how dynamic of a player Nikola Jokic is. He's a tremendous passer, great big man. I don't think there's a better passer in the NBA when it comes to big men than Nikola Jokic. He's a great all-around player. I say it all the time. Defensively, he's not as good as Giannis or Embiid, but he's a better all-around player than Embiid is, especially when it comes to passing the basketball. I think he's a better passer than even Giannis, honestly. And he's a better perimeter shooter than Giannis as well. But the Denver Nuggets are the number 1 seed right now in the West, but they lost 5 out of their last 7 games. And defensively, they are a middle-of-the-pack basketball team. I don't look at the Denver Nuggets as being some lockdown defensive team. And if you want to be a championship contender, you got to be able to get stops at key pivotal moments. I like Mike Malone, their head coach. I think Mike Malone is a proven NBA head coach. Jamal Murray is starting to get back into a rhythm and get back into all-star form, because I thought before his injury, I thought Jamal Murray was on his way to becoming one of the best young players in the NBA. I remember that series in the bubble, the year when the Nuggets made the Western Conference Finals. And in the first round, the Nuggets went 7 games with the Utah Jazz. And it was Donovan Mitchell versus Jamal Murray, mano a mano, and they went at it. So I believe that if Jamal Murray can get back to playing at an all-star caliber level, I think that will help the Denver Nuggets in their quest to get to an NBA Finals. But they got Michael Porter Jr. as well. I like him as a scorer. They got Reggie Jackson, who they picked up in free agency as well. So I like the Denver Nuggets. But defensively, they are inconsistent. Now you look at the Sacramento Kings. I believe that Mike Brown is the NBA Coach of the Year by a landslide. I think he's done an outstanding job with this young Sacramento Kings basketball team. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis are the 2 best players on that Sacramento Kings basketball team. But the issue that I have with the Kings is they're inexperienced. And I believe when you're in a playoff series and you're going up against the likes of the Denver Nuggets or the Golden State Warriors or the LA Clippers, teams who have veterans who've been in the NBA playoffs and who've won championships, especially when you talk about the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and the Warriors with Steph Curry, I believe the Kings' inexperience could show in a playoff series against one of those teams that are veteran basketball teams. Now the Memphis Grizzlies. I love the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they got a tremendous young core with Ja Morant, with Dylan Brooks, with Jackson as well, and Desmond Bane. I like the Memphis Grizzlies, but they are immature. I watch games sometimes, and the Memphis Grizzlies don't finish games. They're not that good on the road either. So they're a young basketball team. They're immature. I like Taylor Jenkins as their head coach, and we all know the issues that Ja Morant has been dealing with. So I believe that the Memphis Grizzlies have a young team that's ready to contend. I just don't know if they're ready to be mature enough to go on a deep playoff run in a tough Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns, they're the 4th seed right now in the West. I think with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker both healthy, the Phoenix Suns could represent the West in the NBA Finals this year. But Kevin Durant is injury prone at this point in his career. We know Chris Paul, he's getting up in age. He's always bound to have to deal with some type of injury. And we don't know if DeAndre Ayton is going to be engaged or going to be interested, considering the fact that he's the 4th option on this Phoenix Suns basketball team. And he's had his run-ins with head coach Monty Williams. And I also don't really know if the Suns have enough depth. When they traded for Kevin Durant, they gave up Mikal Bridges. They gave up Jay Crowder as well. And they don't have Cameron Johnson. They also gave him up. So they don't have the depth that they once had. And I like their starting 5, but I don't know about their depth. I don't know if they can go 6, 7, 8, 9 deep in a playoff series. And the longer these series go in the NBA playoffs, you got to have depth and a lot of bodies who you can trust to get the job done. Now, when it comes to the Clippers, I think the Clippers are in a prime position to get to the NBA Finals. We've been waiting for the LA Clippers to pull through and finally reach an NBA Finals. LeBron Anthony Davis, despite all their struggles, they have won an NBA championship while playing for the Lakers. The Warriors, they lost Kevin Durant and was able to get back to an NBA Finals and win another championship. Don't it kind of feel like the Clippers' time is now? It's time for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to finally pull through and get the LA Clippers to an NBA Finals and possibly win their first NBA championship in franchise history. Kawhi Leonard, he has already won 2 championships. He's a 2-time champion, 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Paul George, he's been in the playoffs multiple times. Despite playoff P coming up short, he has experience in the playoffs. Only question we got about the Clippers is whether or not Russell Westbrook can consistently protect the basketball for this team to be effective in a playoff series. You always wonder about Russ because Russ can be a wild card. And I love Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest point guards in NBA history. But I got my questions about Russ in a playoff series and whether or not Russ can protect the basketball as a point guard for the Clippers. Now, you look at the Dallas Mavericks. They got Kyrie Irving. They got Luka Doncic. But Luka Doncic has been out for 5 straight games. Kyrie also has been dealing with some injury issues as well. And the Dallas Mavericks, offensively, they are great. But defensively, not so much. And in the NBA playoffs, you got to be able to get stops. When they traded for Kyrie Irving, they gave up Dorian Finney-Smith. He was their best perimeter defender. So I don't really believe that the Dallas Mavericks are championship contenders because I don't believe that defensively they are good enough to get stops at key moments in playoff series. The Golden State Warriors are great at the Chase Center, but the Golden State Warriors have been pathetic outside of the Chase Center. And they are currently on a 5-game road trip. And they already are 0-3 on that current 5-game road trip. They play in Houston tonight. Maybe, just maybe, the Golden State Warriors can get their acts together and win a game on the road. They've been pathetic this year on the road. The Warriors this season, they are 7-29 on the road, only averaging 117 points per game, and they are just terrible. For whatever reason, they can't win on the road to save their lives. So that's my issue with the Warriors. They're the defending NBA champions. Yes, they got Steph Curry. They got Klay Thompson, the greatest shooting backcourt in NBA history, but they can't win on the road. So I'm not going to go over the rest of the teams, but I just want to go over some of those teams in the Western Conference and my issues with each of those teams. The West is wide open, though. The Lakers are the 10th seed right now with the 35-37 record. The Lakers beat the Magic last night at Crypto.com Arena last night, and Reeves had a tremendous game. At some point, LeBron James is going to return back to the floor. Darvin Ham already announced that LeBron will play again in the regular season. But do we really believe that Anthony Davis can elevate his game and play at a high level for a consistent period of time for the Lakers to be able to make the playoffs as a top 6 seed? Otherwise, they're going to be playing in the play-in, and anything can happen in the play-in, anything. So, Lakers in the wide open, wild West, if they can get their act together, they could definitely be a sleeper in the Western Conference. And I think the Lakers are better now than what they were before the trading deadline. I like the moves that they made at the trading deadline, trading for D'Angelo Russell, trading for Jaron Vanderbilt, trading for Malik Beasley. I like some of the moves that they made at the trading deadline for sure. And if they can continue to play at a high level and Anthony Davis can elevate his game and LeBron James comes back, the Lakers are definitely a sleeper in the Western Conference. And I counted the Lakers out. I'll be the first to tell you I was wrong about the LA Lakers. But in the Wild West, with all these teams having the issues that they have, the Lakers can definitely be a sleeper who can creep up on some of these teams come playoff time and win a playoff series. I got one question for you. If you don't believe in the Lakers, think about this for a second. In the bubble, when the Lakers won their championship, who did the Lakers beat in the Western Conference Finals? That would be the Denver Nuggets. If the Nuggets and the Lakers met in the playoffs, would you count on the Nuggets being able to, for sure, beat the Lakers? I wouldn't. It would be a toss-up for me because I believe that Anthony Davis is Nikola Jokic's kryptonite, and I think he would struggle being able to guard Anthony Davis. Now, I do believe that Nikola Jokic is a better player than Anthony Davis currently is because Jokic is more consistent than Anthony Davis is. But in one playoff series, I'm not counting out LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But the West right now, if I had to pick a team to represent the West in the NBA Finals this year, I'm going to say the Clippers. I'm going to roll with the Clippers. I believe that it's time for Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to pull through and finally get the Clippers to their first NBA Finals appearance and possibly win their first NBA championship. So right now, my bet would be the LA Clippers to represent the West in the NBA Finals this season. Everybody go follow Wise Guys on Twitter at WiseGuys_H. Also on Facebook, Wise Guys.